One of MRS's greatest strengths as a society is the diversity it brings to every meeting. Diversity in ideas, diversity in disciplines, and diversity in people. Today on MRS TV, we're learning about all the ways diversity and inclusivity push the society's membership to do their best work.
You're watching MRS TV.
You're watching MRS TV.
This is MRS TV.
MRS TV starts right now.
Hi, I'm Katie Brace. We're back for another great episode of MRS TV, featuring insightful interviews with leaders in the field. They'll share stories from their own careers and explain why inclusivity is vital to the future of materials research.
Many times during our careers, we feel very isolated. And so just seeing everybody in person and hearing other people's stories can be very powerful and impactful.
We'll stop by this year's Women's Breakfast to see why this has become such a staple of every MRS meeting.
I think having a symposium like this provides sort of visibility and belonging for the community. And then as a consequence of that, we're really beginning to create this sense of belongingness. And because of that, I think we're starting to see more diverse voices come to the table, which brings with it a whole new range of different research that people can be interested in and new ways to approach problems.
We'll sit down with Christoff-Tempesta, who's chairing a panel highlighting the work of LGBTQ researchers in materials science. Plus, we'll visit 3 pioneering institutions in materials research to see how their work is shaping the future of the fields. We've got a great show ahead of us today. To make sure you don't miss a second of it, you can keep watching MRS TV on screens around the Seattle Summit Convention Center, in your room at select hotels, on the MRS website, and on YouTube and X, formerly known as Twitter. Now let's head to the studio where Jennifer Gerbi, keynote speaker at this year's Women's Breakfast, will share insights from her journey in materials science. Joining me now is Jennifer Gerbi. She is the Women in Materials Science and Engineering Breakfast keynote speaker this year. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So let's start off with, you've said that your career surprised you more than anyone. What do you mean by this?
I was always surprised that I didn't go into academia. I was slightly surprised that I went to college at all. Everybody has a lot of barriers that they face when trying to do these things. So at every step, I didn't know what was going to be next.
And you talk about how you faced a lot of obstacles in your career at the breakfast. How were you able to stay resilient through it all?
It's other people. I can't stress enough how important friends and connections are. Reaching out to those people, sort of nurturing those relationships. I have to say that, everyone from my graduate advisor to friends to other people, they made a huge difference in my ability to be resilient to challenges.
And you have held a variety of roles, some very high-profile roles. How has working through all of these different roles and positions given you a unique insight?
You always think you know what something is like. You might say, why did that person make those decisions or whatever? And then all of a sudden you're the boss. You know all of this information you didn't know before, and you say, oh, this is a lot more complicated than I thought it was. And every different position I've had, when I've had the ability to now know the information that that person had to deal with, it gives you a lot of empathy and a lot of understanding as to how difficult some decisions can be and what things are like when you have the full picture of what's going on and what you need to consider.
So what advice would you have for women who are trying to make a career in materials research today?
First, I would say there is so much to do. There is so much opportunity. We desperately need you all, so please do it. But you're never locked into anything. Whatever experience you have, whatever information you get, that is a learning opportunity. If you find it's not a good fit where you are, move. If you're not passionate about the topic you're learning about, change it. There's a lot of opportunity out there and you really aren't locked into anything. So try to keep yourself flexible, keep yourself resilient, make those connections, come to meetings like this one, and give yourself the freedom to figure out what it is that you really want to do, and always do your best, and you're going to end up doing something amazing.
That's great advice.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Now let's see what attendees of this year's Women's Breakfast took away from her lecture.
Sometimes in networking events, when you're in a minority, you might not feel as safe, or you might not feel as confident. Usually, mostly women attendees, and it's kind of nicer to be a little bit more intimate, a little bit more, feel a little bit more comfortable to speak up and talk about things that we might not otherwise talk about.
I think this is very important because many times during our careers we feel very isolated, and so just seeing everybody in person and hearing other people's stories can be very powerful and impactful.
Dr. Gerbi had a great message today about resilience and all the different things that brought her to, a very fulfilling career. And it was a path that was different from the path she planned, but she showed a lot of resilience and flexibility and took strength from the people who gave her strength along the way. And she put in perspective some of the challenges that she had crossed and kind of found a positive message coming out of all of it.
Being able to have someone that represents you in a space that doesn't really have people that look like you is very important. And her being very mission-oriented on the goal of being able to include everyone in a certain space is very important. I feel like I've been able to go places and be able to experience things because of people like her.
It's an opportunity for people to reflect on how there are lots of different journeys in science and engineering, and it takes people of all kinds of backgrounds and diversity to make a really strong discipline.
Creating a bright future in materials science requires endless passion and creativity. Let's see how Johns Hopkins University's Materials Characterization and Processing Center set out to inspire its users with a beautiful interactive workspace.
At Johns Hopkins University's Materials Characterization and Processing Facility, we've created a research space by material scientists for material scientists.
The MCP was Johns Hopkins' search for a central facility. The challenge was to make it beautiful, but also functional. Our hope was that this would be a place that would allow creativity to blossom.
The MCP has really broadened the reach that we can have with our research and the scope of the research that we can do.
I hope that the MCP becomes a model for material science facilities and all scientific laboratories of the future.
The best in the world should come to Hopkins and the MCP because we have the best facility in the world.
Donate to the causes you care about. The MRS Foundation supports diversity and inclusion projects and programming, early career and student programs, JMR prizes, and more. Every donor is important and every gift makes an impact. Find out more at mrs.org/foundation.
The MRS Communications Lecture recognizes excellence in materials research through impactful and influential work published in MRS Communications. Congratulations to Yuri Gagazzi of Drexel University, who will present his talk, Maxine in the Environment and for the Environment.
MRS Presents offers live webinars and workshops throughout the year, providing engaging educational information on cutting-edge topics in materials research, as well as a variety of career development and diversity and equity events. Join us for our next online event by visiting mrs.org/mrspresents.
MRS offers discounted memberships for those working or studying in developing countries. These memberships are funded by the Materials Research Society Foundation. Visit the MRS website to learn more.
Don't just read our journals, contribute to them. By submitting your work to an MRS journal, you'll reach a global audience and have an impact that will extend for many years. Visit us in booth 120 in the exhibit hall Tuesday through Thursday to find the MRS journal that fits your needs. MRS now offers a complimentary free 1-year membership for all eligible MRS Journal corresponding authors. Member benefits include free electronic access to all MRS journals, discounted registration rates for MRS meetings and workshops, discounted open access, and more. MRS embraces diversity, equity, and inclusion by actively engaging our global membership, supporting the careers of underrepresented researchers, and investing in community actions to address bias and end inequities. In support of the DEI aspiration, in 2021, MRS launched 6 diversifying materials special interest groups. These members-only communities foster networking and community building around common interests. Find out more about these special interest groups by contacting MRS at mrs.org/contact.
We're headed now to Japan to visit NTT Basic Research Labs. This multidisciplinary institution pioneers advancements in novel and functional materials with fascinating physical properties, leveraging cutting-edge technologies to revolutionize information communication technology.
The pursuit of novel and functional material has often heralded groundbreaking technological and conceptual advancements profoundly shaping our societies.
Our work on three-dimensionally cultured neural cells has demonstrated the ability to replicate the characteristic structure and function of the brain.
A central focus of our research is the artificial reproduction of organ functions on the chip.
We have developed groundbreaking new superconductors and superconducting superlattices, offering unprecedented insights into their atomic level structure.
We envision that our pioneering technology will not only expand the application of semiconductor devices, but also contribute to the creation of future sustainable societies.
We welcome you to join us at the forefront of scientific innovation and discovery.
Joining me now is Christoff-Tempesta. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
So you are chairing today's session at Materials Research by the LGBT community. And the presentation in today's sessions are all focused around understanding material science through a queer perspective. Why is this important to discuss?
Yeah, so we're kind of seeing a whole range of different perspectives being brought to the table today. So on one side, we're seeing people bringing up their science. And what I think is really cool is that we're seeing queer scientists be elevated and finding a platform really to sort of show role models that can be underrepresented in material science. And at the same time, we're also seeing people sort of share their experiences. And so something that's really cool is that we find people maybe sharing some challenges that they've experienced, but then people also coming together and perhaps providing a vision to how we might be able to overcome some of these challenges in the future.
So how can queerness uniquely shape a person's relationship to this field?
Yeah, so I think we're seeing definitely some challenges come up. So people are sharing maybe how being queer has affected their ability to progress in their career, or maybe places that they feel comfortable. But at the same time, I think having a symposium like this provides sort of visibility and belonging for the community. And then as a consequence of that, we're really beginning to create this sense of belongingness. And because of that, I think we're starting to see more diverse voices come to the table, which brings with it a whole new range of different research that people can be interested in and new ways to approach problems.
So when and where can we find your session?
Yes, so the session started yesterday and it's continuing today. It's in room 326 and it continues until around 5 o'clock, and it ends with what I think will be a really exciting roundtable discussion.
Right, perfect. Thank you so much, Ty, for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Now, before we close out our show, let's head to the University of Arizona. Their Department of Materials Science and Engineering is known for its outstanding faculty, patented inventions, industry partnerships, commitment to global research and international exchange, and workforce-oriented undergraduate curriculum.
The Materials Science and Engineering Department has a long history of academic excellence. We started off in 1940 as the Department of Metallurgy in what was then known as the College of Mines and Engineering. In 1985, we became the Department of Materials Science and Engineering and expanded our expertise and capabilities to encompass a wide variety of advanced materials systems that enable technological innovation.
The students at the Department of Material Science and Engineering are truly the heartbeat of our department. The graduate students not only gets to work in a highly interdisciplinary environment, they get serious mentorship experience by working with undergrads as well as postdoctoral associates in the department.
I'm super excited about the MSc department here at the University of Arizona, as our faculty, staff, and students are working on design enabling materials that will really help us transform the future.
And that's our show for today. We hope you've been able to learn from the examples set by today's guests and see how their paths intersect with your own career. If you want to look back on any of today or yesterday's interviews, you can keep watching MRS TV on screens around the Seattle Summit Convention Center, in your room at select hotels, on the MRS website, and on YouTube and X, formerly known as Twitter. Join us tomorrow for a look into how materials scientists are shaping a sustainable future for our planet. I'm Katie Brace, and I'll see you then.